Moving on from there, I will turn it over to Dr. Evans for our budget presentation for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Oristano James, and well said, Kayla. Looking forward to the musical tomorrow night. Tonight will be the final installment of our program budget presentations. The board has previously seen presentations from our operations, technology, security. They've also seen presentations from our principals on their proposed budgets for next year. Kind of wrapping things up relative to program tonight will be curriculum and instruction, pupil personnel services, and special programs, and BOCES. So I will turn this over to Ms. Fela, who will introduce our guest administrators tonight for their presentations.
Thank you, Dr. Evans. Ms. Montez, can you bring up the presentation on the screen? Thank you. Like Dr. Evans said, tonight is curriculum and staff development, pupil personnel, special programs, and BOCES. Next slide. So at our budget meetings, by law, the board makes the final decision on the budget being presented to the public for voter approval. We do solicit input. You can use the comments at k12mcsd.net to ask questions. Our goal is to be as transparent as possible. Everyone will be heard and respected, and please comment in context. Next slide. So the first section of our budget presentation tonight is curriculum and staff development, and that will be presented by Dr. Oler Marks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fela. So for me and for pupil personnel and special programs that follow after, just to kind of couch it with an umbrella statement, we obviously have all combed our budgets in looking for areas where we can save money, but due to COVID, there are certain, and the year that we've had, there are certain areas where we had to have increases, and we'll each talk about those separately with the rationale behind that. So you can see from the curriculum and staff development budget that there are areas where we have been able to find significant decreases. In some places, you will see, however, that there's one area where we have had, we've asked for an increase with conferences and training, and this is due to increased training needs around reacting and responding to the educational needs of the students. And then you can see in two of the budget codes that we have significant decreases, and that's because we reassign some of those program costs to the BOCES budget because that's where they are more appropriate. That is it for me.
Next slide. So the next section of the budget is our PPS budget, and Ms. Duryea will be presenting that.
Good evening, Board of Education members, Dr. Evans, Dr. Oler Marks, Mrs. Fela, student board member Kayla, good evening, and to my colleagues, and of course, Ms. Montez, good evening. You know, it would behoove me not to thank Ms. Fela and Ms. Christine Rice for providing me with data and preparing this budget. They did a great job in giving me line-by-line comparisons from 2017 to December of 2020, so I could be as deliberate and accurate as possible and try to contain costs in certain lines. And I feel I did that indeed in the budget that I put before you. You will see there are three lines particularly that increased quite dramatically. And, you know, with the increases in special ed, children with more significant needs require more significant services. And with that comes a cost. The first line that you'll see the increase in is contractual tutorial hospital services. I did increase that by 25%. This year, unfortunately, with medical and social factors, we have more students in the hospital. And when I say in the hospital, I mean requiring psychiatric supportive services, whether it's in Four Winds, Columbia Presbyterian. And what we've seen differently this year is some students stay anywhere between 14 days and 30 days max, but often we're finding many of our students having to return because they aren't coming in for that full-time direct support and receiving social worker services, guidance counselor services, relationships with their teachers. So that you will see that line increase by 25%. The next big increase that you'll see in my budget is contractual occupational therapy services. Monticello School District has a private contract with Pro Therapy, and we put an RFP out several years ago as per the board's directive. Lisa, thank you again for that. And due to when the pandemic struck in March, due to COVID, usually we have Committee on Preschool Special Education students who transfer in to CSC services. And many times those students are discharged from related services. And that did not happen this year. There was limited flexibility in terms of the regulations and compliance when it came to state as well as federal regulations in terms of special education. So what the district did, Monticello and many other districts, we maintained services and we did not discharge. And they were providing teletherapy. So the projected decrease in services did not occur, and those children came in kindergarten, more students requiring OT services, as well as our school-aged students aged 5 to 21. Some of those students who would have been discharged because the whole goal of special education services is to remediate and then discharge the service. So we did not, our students didn't progress and accelerate due to that non-direct therapy contact with our providers. So what we did was, with the help of Ms. Fela, we amended our contract with Pro Therapy, and we went from having 2.5 to 3.3 OT providers, which provided us really with 4 additional days of the week of OT services for our students, so we can provide the mandated OT needs for our students. The third line that you will see greatly increased in my budget is the tuition for CSC private placements. That increase is approximately $325,000. And there's several reasons for that. The first reason is, as I said, there's limited flexibility. We have Sullivan County Division of Health Services increased its maintenance fees for our students who are in residential placement from 32% to 56%. And I want to make it very clear, this is not Sullivan County doing this. This is a formula that is used through state education for every county in New York State. So I just want to go on the record that this is not, I believe, Sullivan County doing this. Another is we have more students who are requiring a residential setting in private placements. Special education costs could shoot up very quickly, or they can shoot down very quickly. I try to work closely with the business office to create the most realistic, fiscally responsible forecast that I can. The second slide, Janet, you can go to the second slide, please. You'll see with the second slide, there's no real statistically significant changes in the budget that I've proposed, perhaps some, minimal decreases in just trying to, budget smartly.
Thank you, Ms. Duryea. Next slide. This next slide is for summer school and special programs, and Ms. Taylor will be presenting this budget.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. The proposed 21-22 special programs budget has an overall decrease of $5,000 for a total of $62,000. Our summer school line items remain the same for a total of $9,000. In contractual expenses, there is a decrease of $4,500, bringing that total line item down from $40,500 to $36,000. My mileage expenses are being proposed at $1,000, down from $2,500. $5,000 in conference expenses have been eliminated completely, and $6,000 of reallocated funds from the mileage and contractual expenses account for the increase in supplies that you'll see to support the expansion of K-12 Tier 1 SEL resources.
Thank you. Next slide. This is the BOCES budget. Oh, go back. This is the BOCES budget for the upcoming school year, and I will present that. The couple of areas with a significant increase, we have the central business office is going up $12,600. This is based on historical increases. The CBO will cost us about $330,000 for this current school year, 2021. That's up $10,000 from 1920. And from 1819 to 1920, it also increased $12,600. So I was confident that it's probably going to go up $12,600. An area that decreased was our HVAC tech. We invested some time in one of our current employees to get his certification to be an HVAC tech. So we reduced the service from BOCES to 1 day a week. The BOCES administrative charges, BOCES gave us a rate increase of 5.86%, and that's reflected there, or a total of $35,450. The debt service line also includes capital and rental for the BOCES. The rental portion of their budget is only going to increase 3.65%, but their capital portion is increasing 21.77%. So you'll see that increase of $40,000 there. There was no increase in staff development. We pretty much, that's what we spend year after year, $45,000. Regular school is made up of several COSERs, but the most significant increases in those COSERs are CTE. That's an increase of $50,000. That's a combination of tuition increases and number of seats. Alternative ed is also going up $20,000. Spark and IDT, which are intensive day treatment programs, that's going up about $25,000. School improvement is in this line. That increase of $240,000, and that's the reallocation from the curriculum and instruction budget. There's decreases also in the BOCES regular school. We have shared technicians. That's a decrease of $70,000. Orange Ulster, we had a shared technician and they chose not to replace that person. Communications is down $15,000 as we reduced to 1 day a week. Tech support also is a decrease of $95,000 because in 2021, we increased that line to purchase additional iPads and laptops. Special education, there's increased costs there for several COSERs, and most of them are in double-digit percentages. COSER 201 is a 17.44% increase. COSER 206 is a 4.64% increase. ITAP is a 14.81% increase, and 207 is an 8.66% increase. The related services in special education, those increases range from a low of 1.99% to a high of 10%. So all of those things together is about a $280,000 increase in costs. Library automation is a slight increase, and tech integration has a slight decrease. Next. So this is our general information page. We have the board petitions are due April 19th. The board adopts the budget on the 20th. The budget's made available to the public on the 29th of April. We have our budget hearing on May 6th, voter registration day on May 11th. We mail our budget notice on May 12th, and the budget vote is May 18th. In our upcoming board meetings, our next board meeting, the topics will be instructional and support staffing, benefits, and district-wide expenses. We'll also probably have a final state aid, I'm hoping, and we'll have an estimate of what the final budget will be. And then on April 20th, we will have the final budget presentation to the board and budget adoption. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fela, and thank you, everyone. Well done.
Thank you, Ms. Fela, and everybody else from the board. Any questions at this time? Remember, we still have time to digest the information being given and utilize that information in a future budget meeting. Ms. Jersey.
Just a couple of them. So on the pupil personnel services, the contractual tutorial for the hospital, is we provide additional services, or these teachers and stuff that are currently in the school district, we have to pay extra?
That's a great question. So when they're in the hospital, they're staying in the hospital in treatment. And legally, state law says elementary students must receive 5 hours per week of educational support, and middle school and high school must receive 10 hours. And these hospital settings hire certified teachers. Usually, Ms. Jersey, it's through an agency that provides state ed certificated teachers. And those, we get notice from the hospital that we have a student there. We connect them with the guidance counselor. We try to email the work down we never want a breakage in the continuation of curriculum and instruction for that student. So we do continue to provide the work, but they provide the direct instruction down there. Did I answer?
Yeah, that's great. The other thing is the occupational therapy. So do we have any idea of the percentage of children that are doing this as teletherapy, and are they actually remoting in to do it, or are they doing it in person?
The majority of our special education students, and I'm really so proud of Monticello School District. I said it's in a principals meeting the other day. I said we were really the last to close it, and hopefully we're going to be, the first to really. Actually, we did have a lot of our special education students. So, kudos to the central office, to our special education teachers, went above and beyond to move furniture out of their classrooms. So the majority of our special education teachers, students, have been offered to come in 4 days a week quite a while ago. Those parents and families who've opted for fully remote, they're doing the teletherapy. So all of our services, whether it's OT, PT, speech, if the students are in school, it's direct instruction. If they opted to be home for remote because of their situation, they're participating in teletherapy. And I know that the majority, I collect attendance from all of our special education teachers. They've been wonderful. All of our related service professionals, because they're mandated legal services and we have to project for budget compensatory services, they send me their attendance every month. So I can see, I don't have that number exactly for you, but I will tell you, if they are in school, they are getting direct services, and the majority of our special education students are in school.
I was just wondering, because I know kids can't log on a lot, and it's very hard to do those types of services versus doing teletherapy. So I didn't know what percentage of students are actually partaking in that.
Right, and you are absolutely correct, and that's a great point. And also with the teletherapy, is certainly not as effective. And I've been telling parents a lot of annual review meetings and CSE meetings that don't be alarmed if you see our related service providers making a recommendation for the goal to be carried over into the next IEP, because it's skill-based and you're not going to see the same rate of progress with the teletherapy. And then also those barriers of logging in.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you. You are all more than welcome to stay. It's just, I have to tell you, the Brady Bunch enlarged is very difficult to try and see where my board members are as you keep moving in Zoom world. But certainly you can, sign on the other side if you'd like, but you're certainly welcome to stay. We appreciate you coming this evening and presenting to us. We say go enjoy the rainstorm outside, I guess. So thank you so much for being here with us this evening.